Due to recent actions by the Federal Trade Commission and the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA, YouTube has become a scary place for kids' content or content that might attract kids under the age of 13. The problem is defining exactly what content, kids' content, and content that attracts kids means. Heck, even some of the lawyers I follow online say the guidelines are too vague to make compliance easy. It's possible that simply reporting or mentioning things like recreation department activities, color run, Easter egg hunt, trunk or treat, street fair, etc., or police department related items like the Explorers Club, Cops for Kids, National Night Out, neighborhood visits, etc., parades, murals, Livingston Youth Football, Livingston High School Athletics, and so on could be caught up in YouTube's AI sweep for kid attractive content. That would not be a good thing. It's a nightmare for creators now. I don't want to take up a lot of time for all the gory details, but I do want to ask you to do something if you would please. In the description below this video, there is a link to a petition to save family-friendly content on YouTube. Please, please, please sign it. There is also a link to the FTC comment page and links to help you out if you don't quite know what to say. Just a few words. That's all I ask. The deadline is December 9th. With that out of the way, greetings everyone. This is the Gardening Snail of Livingston, California. If you're interested in what's happening at City Hall, among other things, or just want to keep track of what our local politicians are up to, welcome to the channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when future videos are uploaded. City to pay $500,000 plus in settlement agreement. At the November 19th, 2019 City Council meeting, the 3 members of the council present voted 3-0 to settle litigation between the city and Livingston 75 LP. The cost to the city will be well over $500,000, and that is not including court costs and lawyers' fees. In this video, we are going to talk about the origins of this mess, provide excerpts from previous city budget footnotes, and point out some of the details included in the original development agreement with the original developer, Dunmore Homes. We will show how these informational footnotes were contained in city budget documents until around fiscal year 2013-2014, at which point they were purged from city budget documents along with hundreds of other pieces of historical financial documentation. After that, we will look at the video of the actual November 19th, 2019 discussion by the city attorney, the council members present that evening, and the city manager. And after all that, you will be free to draw your own conclusions about how we ended up in this kind of mess in the first place. The origins of this story began around 2007 or so, during the housing boom in California, which so dramatically went bust a few years later. The city was in the middle of a general plan update that would have accommodated well over 100,000 people, which itself is a whole nother story for a whole nother time. Dunmore Homes wanted to build its country via subdivisions. The city wanted to expand what we now know as the Max Foster Sports Complex. The photo on the left is of footnote number 476 in the fiscal year 2009 City of Livingston budget document. It talks about a land purchase and Dunmore Homes' share for park obligations and storm drainage basin obligations. You will notice that Dunmore is highlighted in blue or pink in this example. That is because this document was formatted in a way to allow a keyword search. Even though the budget document itself is nearly 600 pages, it only took a few seconds and a few mouse clicks to find this footnote. The footnote states, among other things, that reimbursements to the developer would take place over a 3-year period, come from the Storm Drainage Development Impact Fees Capital Projects Fund. Payment is only required if new development has generated the funds for the reimbursement, and that no general fund money is required to be used. The bottom of the footnote shows payments made to Dunmore Homes in fiscal year 2007 and fiscal year 2008, and what the city expected to pay in fiscal year 2009. Here's one of the footnotes about the agreement from the fiscal year 2010 budget. Here's one from the fiscal year 2011 budget. This one is from the fiscal year 2012 budget. However, a funny thing happened in fiscal year 2013. The footnote about the development agreement with Dunmore Homes vanished from the record. And in fiscal year 2014, footnotes in general disappeared. The document itself was cut down to a fraction of the size of previous years, and the format changed. Keyword searches did not work on the copy provided to the public. Just why that was acceptable to the council at the time is beyond me. From what I remember, the justification given at the time was, those old budgets were too big, and there was just too much information to have to go through, and we don't really need all that extra information anyway. It's been pretty much that way ever since. Information that could be found with just a few mouse clicks has been stricken from the record. So now we have a budget document that no longer provides a detailed history of how we got to be where we are now. And it doesn't allow you to do a quick keyword search if you're interested in looking up specific budget items. At least, not the copies I've been able to download. So what really happened? What led to the over $500,000 settlement that is going to take a big chunk out of the general fund all at once? I can't tell you for sure because of the history gap in the budget documents. The way I do understand this is the original developer went belly up and nothing happened for a long time. Then a new developer bought out the project and wanted the same fee arrangements as the old developer. The legal questions became whether the new developer is legally required to that old development agreement since so much time had passed, and if so, how much so? The decision by the council must have been the city would lose more money by continuing the litigation than it would gain by maybe winning the case. I think I can safely say, by looking at budget footnotes about the original agreement, nothing was supposed to have come out of the general fund, at least. I also feel that, now that we are set to hire a new finance director, it's time to fix the format of budget documents so keyword searches are again possible. Now that I've had my say, let's hear what the city attorney, city council, and city manager had to say.
Okay, this is the item resolution approving the necessary budget amendment for payments under the settlement agreement between the City and the Livingston 75 LP related to the Country Views development. I'll give it to, who wants to tag team this one first? I'll leave it to council, Mr. Sanchez, then Mr. Ramirez, step in as you wish.
Perfect, Mayor. So, Mayor, members of the council, as the council and members of the public know, the city is currently involved in litigation with Livingston 75 LP. Again, this litigation is currently in the Superior Court of the County of Merced. The council has met, as the agendas have stated, under closed session to discuss this litigation. This litigation arises out of Livingston 75, claiming certain reimbursements as successor in interest to Dunmore Home Country Villas, and this is related to the Country Villas subdivision. In order to avoid the cost of uncertainty of litigation and provide for a complete and full mutual release and discharge of any future lawsuits related to this, the city and Livingston 75 decided to settle this case. The settlement happened recently. The settlement agreement has certain requirements, monetary requirements, and again, these are for reimbursements. The claims are for reimbursements. Livingston 75 is saying that the city owes them through development agreements and other agreements that the city entered into with Dunmore Homes, Dunmore Country Villas. Again, given the nature of the case, the parties decided that the best course of action is to settle. As far as the improvements in question, as the council knows and the public may remember, there were several public improvements out there, such as there was a 12-inch water line, for example, modification of the existing storm drain system. There was also a park involved. I think it's a 12.6-acre parcel of land for a park. The settlement agreement has monetary requirements for the city, and this item actually will authorize the budget amendments needed in order to make those payments. Specifically, the city would be required to pay $350,000 within 21 days, and it would also be required to turn over and to pay the water connection fees and the park in lieu fees paid by Bright Development. Bright Development is currently developing the lots that are related to the subdivision. They have 64 lots in question. And again, that would be, the requirement would be for the city to turn over the collected water connection fees and park in lieu fees that they've collected from Bright Development for this project and the future fees they collect, again, from Bright Development for this specific project, and we're talking about 64 lots. The staff report indicates the current amounts of those fees. Happy to answer any questions, Mayor.
Mr. Ramirez, do you have anything to add?
Only to highlight that the city did receive the 12.6 acres and the actual water line and the storm drain improvements. So in essence, even though I personally do not agree with the different dynamics of the situation, this is the best we can do, and so at the end of the day, we're paying for something that we did receive, and so for that, that's basically the only thing I wanted to communicate at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. This item is now open to the public.
Catherine Shaw Rodriguez, P.O. Box 163. My first question is, this is going to be a lump sum payment?
Go ahead, tell the percentages.
Just real quickly, the lump sum payment is the $350,000 and whatever the city has already collected from those impact fees. The future collection of impact fees, that would be on a monthly basis as those payments come in from Bright Development, who's currently developing the 64 lots in that subdivision.
Okay, because if you add everything up all together under fiscal impact, that comes to around what? Around $500,000 in total? So that's all going to be paid out in one lump sum?
No, the $350,000 obligation comes within 21 days of entering into the agreement. The agreement was just entered into last Friday. So that within 21 days, $350,000 and whatever the city has collected already from the impact fees. I don't have that number in front of me, but whatever the city has actually collected.
Yeah, so it's still going to be one lump sum, not monthly installments.
No, there's still lots that are not developed. that Bright Development has not paid for those impact fees, those would be monthly installments of any future development impact fees paid by Bright Development, which they haven't paid for those 64 lots.
And this is a combination of general fund money and also development impact fee funds.
Like the park in lieu fees
The park and lieu fee, those would be development impact fees.
for parks.
Mhm.
Okay. And what's this going to do to all of our departments in terms of their budgets?
Well, the 350,000 is going to come from our reserves, and the development impact fees, of course, are going to be coming from those specific areas.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing nobody come forward, council comments? For me, I don't have anything either other than to say we did get a park out of there, and there were things that the city did receive, so it's not like we're giving up that money. There is a value to the Max Foster Sports Complex Park. That is we've got in return. So basically, we're paying portion of that park back. That's what we're doing. So nobody likes to pay our fees or lose. But this day and age, it costs a lot of money to fight. And if there is, even us, we were having a hard time justifying should we or should we not, and then we could have tried to fight it, but in the end you can pay for fees and then still pay for the original cost. But this way we were able to negotiate down to a certain percentage. Because if you don't negotiate and you end up in court and you lose, you pay for the total amount of demand. So, and there are attorney fees, which could significantly add the cost. So I've been doing this for a while, and we don't like to lose, but sometimes there are certain realities you do have to face, and unfortunately, this is one of them. So I know the council looked long and hard before they made their decision as well. So it's a difficult one, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do to make things equal and to move on. So with that, I will end my comment. Anybody, staff, wish to add anything further? Okay, if not, then I will entertain a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion approving the necessary budget amendments for payments under a settlement agreement between the City and Livingston 75 LP related to the Country Villas development.
I have a motion by Councilman Aguilar. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman Batista. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call. Councilmember Baptista.
Yes.
Councilmember Aguilar.
Yes.
Mayor Samra.
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 3-0.
Thank you, Council. Any further business?
If you like this kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out the description below this video for those links to the FTC petition and comment pages I've mentioned earlier. If you don't like what I have to say, that's okay. Thanks for sticking around this long anyway. Either way, tell me about it in the comment. You also might want to check out some of the other links in the description below. I am including a link to the most recent utility rate stakeholders committee meetings in the video description below this video. There will be an important presentation on water, wastewater, and garbage rates at the next council meeting, and the next Proposition 218 hearing shouldn't be too far away after that. I am also including the contact information for the police chief, county supervisor, city manager, and city council members, just in case you want to contact them directly.